unmuted myself. Last time I was live, I started talking, and I was talking for like 4 minutes on YouTube and LinkedIn, and nobody heard me except for y'all. So we're about to go live in just a minute. What's happening, everyone, and welcome to the Systems Lab Live. I'm very excited to kick off this brand new series that we are starting today called Everyday Work, in which we are talking all about how we go about everyday work, meaning the planning, the organizing, the communication, the delegation, the documentation, the managing of projects. This is something where, if I am to be quite honest, sometimes we need to go back into our skill set, back to the, what would we say, back to the basics, so to speak. But what's so interesting about everyday work is the fact that 2.5 years ago, we were doing things dramatically different, meaning that the way that we were communicating, the way that we were working, the way that we were meeting, traveling, and all that sort of thing. Now that technology has come into play as a way that helps us as brands and as businesses to connect with one another, to collaborate, things are happening rapidly and quickly, right? And we're sort of getting into, not sort of, but we are getting into an environment of hybrid work, remote work, and everything in between. And so it is my belief that we need to make sure, as business owners and as brands, that we stay up to date with the tools and the technology and the way in which that we collaborate, because again, goals are being set, things are coming together, they're moving fast. And again, this is not about somebody else moving faster than you, but the pace of things are most certainly picking up. This is not to say that you can't work on multiple things or you have to go super, super fast, but this is just to say that the way in which people are working these days, it is fast and things are picking up. So we're going to be talking about communication for the next few sessions. And I think this is going to be great because I want to introduce to you tonight, for tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about synchronous communication versus asynchronous communication. Yes, I'm bringing out the SAT words out the gate, folks, the SAT words. So when we are referring to synchronous communication, we're going to be talking about the traditional ways in which we know how to communicate with our customers and clients. And then we're going to get into async communication, which is a new way of communicating that is something that's interesting. It's really focusing on not having an immediate response and immediate action. But before we get into all of that, and let me bring up my notes here, folks. We're going to bring up some notes. What's happening, Mason? Great to see you. Thank you so much for the compliment as well. Don't allow. Let's see. I want to get into my notes for the live show. Hold on 1 second. Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to get into we will get into the app of the day. Because I want to show you all something that I did yesterday. Let me see if I can just bring it up. We're going to get into flow charting. That is a way in which you can use that as a communication tool with your clients. I like flow charting a lot because it allows you to take a visual representation of what you are working on, and you can communicate lots of different things. Now, let me see if I can. I'm going to pull this thing up right here because I just looked at it. Let me see something. In the meantime, in between time, tell me how your weekend was. Did you do anything fun? Did you do anything fun at all? I did a couple things. I am the membership services chair for Thursday Network, and that is the young professional organization for the Urban League. And so we had our membership meeting. We had a new members orientation, and that was fantastic. It was in person, which was good because we have been doing things hybrid, but making a concerted effort to put things in person. Okay, I'm going to do a quick search. Oh, okay. I just found it. Come through. Come through. Okay, I want to show you guys what I've done. If you are also on Instagram, that is fine as well. But if you want to join me on YouTube, I want to put the link is in the bio, but it says Systems Lab. Link in bio, and I want you to look for Systems, yes, Lab. Shout outs to the predictive keyboard technology that I have in place. But I want to show you all Whimsical because this is like a really great study aid. And I'm going to show you what this can really do for you. So let me go into that. Drop your name and location as well. Where are you logging in from? Tell me, what are you up to for the week? What exactly is it that you are working on? What are you looking to execute on this month? What are some deadlines that you have in place? Let's have the conversation because we're in everyday work. And I think that is super important. Okay, what you're looking at right here is you are looking at whimsical.co. I'm going to put that into the comments in here. Whimsical.com. This is a tool. The tool is tool/app of the week is Whimsical. So, and what's great about Whimsical is again the ability to visualize a particular process. This is what I use for clients. This is what I use for myself in terms of mapping out ideas and things. What's great about this particular tool is that you can work with yourself or with others. This is instrumental for teams. All teams need whiteboarding tools. Yes, all teams need whiteboarding tools. You guys, if you've been a part of the Systems Lab Live, then you know that Whimsical is for sure. Excuse me, I thought I had a hair in my face. If you know that Systems Lab Live, we have talked about Whimsical a lot, and I for sure just want to highlight this for you once again as a way that you can use it for SOPs. Shout out to Ashley Hogreave, who's an Airtable systems expert. She was using this as a SOP demonstration that she did on her Instagram stories, but she uses this tool for standard operating procedures. That's one way. You can also use this if you are a web designer. You can also use this for wireframing as well. If you are a graphic designer, if you make logos, this is the perfect opportunity for you to actually map out what the roadmap is for this particular project in just a visual manner. And lastly, I am using this now as a study aid, So I'm on the journey right now of studying Agile, the Agile project management. And so I wanted to create this mind map, this workflow. Shout out to Amber Chandler, who is one of the Agile coaches and experts in the game. And I have started, maybe it was late. Maybe it was late in the fourth quarter. I've just been starting to study, just making time in my schedule to study Agile. I've heard a lot about it. I'm definitely very well versed in the traditional waterfall project management, which kind of gets into the step by step by step by step by step, and then you produce something. Now, the Agile project management, which we just closed out the content operations series, and then we had a subset series called The Secret Behind Nike's Content Strategy, and other large scale companies are using Agile PM, which is right here's the definition. It's an incremental and iterative approach to project management that breaks a large project into smaller development cycles. I'm going to zoom in just a teensy bit so that you can kind of see this. So looking at this, you're breaking down your work into smaller chunks. This is about having speed and accuracy and efficiency in what you're doing. So what is great about Agile is you can incorporate customer client feedback as you continue to develop the device. Back that up. What's great about Agile is that you can continue to make improvements for this particular deliverable and receive feedback along the way to improve it. How do I know this? Guess who just had a huge keynote event? Apple. Apple uses Agile project management. So what they've done is when they are talking about the iOS 16 updates, they're talking about a specific set of features that have been worked on all throughout this year. And what they're doing is they've taken the feedback from iOS 14, 15, 13, however long that you want to go back. And what they've done is they've taken key features that should be further developed, and then they release it. So everything that they've talked about has been, and again, I'm not in the Apple meetings, but I'm assuming this goes on. Everything from the engineers to those that are head of product and development have a vision for the iPhone and the particular updates based on customer feedback, based on internal discussions with the vision of the iPhone. They're coming out with these features. I love it. Continuous improvement. All right. So I like this particular whimsical board because what I did was I started studying, and then I just started putting this in a visual space. So I asked myself this question. If you go up here, what are some of the benefits? Excuse me. What are some of the benefits of using Agile? And these are just a summary. There's 12 of them, but there are 12 principles of Agile. Agile, they have the principle of customer satisfaction, principles of quality, and of teamwork. What I've done here is I've actually put a hyperlink. Again, shout out to Whimsical. We put out a hyperlink where I can literally click the hyperlink to go and read more about the Agile Manifesto, which is super cool. So it takes me to a link, and then I can go, if I want to read more about it, I can go ahead and do that. Also, what was interesting too is that there are several types of Agile methodologies. I thought there was only like 7, but apparently I was looking up and I think there's like 43. I was like, I'm confused. That's okay. That's okay. As I begin to wrap my head around Agile and, how do I apply this to my business, to clients? How do I use this? How is this going to be beneficial? I already know how it's beneficial because I've seen it in action. I've read about it. But one of the things that another Agile expert told me was, actually, there's so many different types. Make sure that you pick one. pick one or two that you're interested in. So far, 1 and 2 seem very interesting to me. Kanban, and I'm just going to bold it right here, Kanban. And I'm going to highlight this. I'm actually going to make it a different color. Okay, make it a different color. I don't know why I wanted to change it 5 times. But number 1 and 2 seem for me like the best to start diving in and learning about. So if you skip down right here, let me go out a little bit. I started the Scrum methodology study portion of this. So then I can, again, this is like a handy dandy cheat sheet. And I was like, this is perfect. So I started this and I'm going to continue to, build upon it as we go. But whimsical.com is the app. It is available on desktop mostly. Well, let me take that back. Whimsical works on desktop. It does not necessarily work on iPad or I guess iPhone. I'd really like for them to fix that if possible. Now, can you do this? Now, the question is, does Lucid Chart have the ability to actually build things? You could also do organizational charts. You can map out like project tasks and things. It says it's on the App Store, so they have an App Store, folks. Let's see. Also have affiliates too as well. Very exciting. Let's see for, yeah, they have an app, which is pretty good. I wonder what you all can do with it. I don't know. Does Whimsical have? I'm gonna ask though. I'm gonna ask on Twitter too because they're pretty responsive. Now, do we have any affiliate things? I will ask. They're on LinkedIn as well. Oh, okay. Yeah, Whimsical is used by Webflow, Wistia, Freelancer, ADA. A lot of designers use it. It's a great tool. It's a very, very good tool. It's very robust. I am down with the Whimsical cause. Oh, I didn't know they had a community too. That's great. Yeah, that's really good. I'm definitely going to be up in here because I got some questions. I got some questions. Ooh, shout out to Mark overall. You already know, keeping everybody informed. This is how we do. This is how we do. All right. We're going to get to it because I want to talk about mastering communication for a bit. And what I like about this topic, what I like about this particular topic on mastering communication is that we are living in a day and age where communication is just vital, right? How we're communicating, what are we saying? What's the most effective way for us to communicate? When we're collaborating with people from all different walks of life, background, culture, time zones, when we're looking to get stuff done, we have to have a way where we can communicate clearly and succinctly, effectively, where people don't feel as if they are wasting any time. Time is the one thing that we can't get back. And I believe, because it's a biblical principle, time and time management, that you should want to then be sure to utilize your communication in such a way where it moves the needle on certain tasks and projects. So communication is just vital to the lifeline of the projects that we're working on in our relationships. Our relationships. Someone should write that down. That communication is vital to our relationships and the work that we're doing on a daily basis. On a daily basis. So, a few things that I think are really important for us to note is that when dealing with our clients, our customers, we may think it's really simple to be able to say, I just told my client X, or that person should know what to do next. Because we're often thinking that people are us, that people mimic us in such a way of, well, of course, that's how I would communicate. Of course, that's how I would handle this situation. And that's completely unfair, because the people that we look up to, the people that we collaborate with, those that we are huge fans of, even those that we are hiring, those that are our ideal clients, communicating will be different all across the board. And so it's up to us to figure out, what is the system of communication? What is the system? What's the rhythm? What is the cadence? What's the goal of our communication? It's important. It's important for us to ensure that we know why we must communicate, what are the best ways to do it, how to improve upon communication. And we're going to be exploring these topics, these questions on Wednesday and next week. We're going to continue to explore that, at least a good maybe 3-4 sessions, and then move on to some other areas that we should be concerning ourselves with. But I wanted to make sure that we started this conversation talking about communication. And there's an art to it. Now, something that I think is going to be beneficial to guide this discussion is Asana's 2022 Anatomy of Work Global Index. Asana, which is a project and task management tool, along with Notion, one of my beloveds, and ClickUp, one of my top beloveds of tools. There's Teamwork. There is Trello. There's a lot of Team Trello out here in these streets. Shout out to y'all. And I'm going to share with you some insights on work about work and where people are feeling in terms of how they like to go about organizing, planning, and executing the work. Let's share the screen. Yeah, like I said, Mark said Trello is pretty good. Let me tell you, we got some Team Trello up in this piece for sure. Team Trello. This is the Anatomy of Work, and I actually want to see. Do I actually have the PDF? I don't know if I have the other PDF open. But that's okay, because I do want to highlight a couple of stats that people are seeing. Okay. All right. I want you to check out this one. Managers are losing 62% of their work days on work about work. Now, by definition, hold on folks, because we need to, define the work about work. Work about work is defined as this. I want to pull up the definition, so I want to make sure we get that straight. And it's really sort of what you already know what it is to be. Work about work. I love it because it's the activities that take away from meaningful work, including communicating about work, searching information information, switching between apps, managing shifting priorities, and chasing the status of work. So again, work about work, as defined by Asana, is the activities that take time away from meaningful work, including communicating about work, which is, hey, I'm working about this, I'm working on X, searching for information. Oh, where do I go find that document? Switching between apps, and managing shifting priorities and chasing the status of work. Woo! Work about work is real, y'all. Work about work is real. So, as we're seeing here, we're seeing some of the highlights of the report. Teams rotate through spaces on the same schedule. People are working from home some days, from the office on others. Flexibility with work hours and location is a net positive for change, but too much flexibility creates confusion in the workplace. Organizations and teams can benefit by aligning on a set of weekly schedule and clearly defined quiet time to work alone at home, or collaborative time to work in the office on shared projects. Again, just talking about how to organize people in the best manner so that they can communicate effectively, but also offer enough structure where people don't feel like it's just like outer space. Endless galaxies of blinking notifications. Again, having too many apps, too much information, you're going from one app to the next, to the this, to the that, is distracting at times. And it's causing inefficiency. And it causes employees to say, or team members to say, you know what? I don't even know what to focus on because I'm task switching too much. So this year, it says that 49% see the office as more of a social space than they used to, while 41% feel more isolated when working remotely. 48% more efficient meetings could limit notifications, and 45% think clear responsibilities would do the same. People are asking for less meetings and clearly defined roles, so I know what to do and where to spend my time. That's what that's saying. Forty percent of workers think burnout is an inevitable part of success. How sad that you have to feel burnt out as a part of the success routine. So, with that said, a few things. Communication is for sure going to be a pivotal part of how we go about effectively communicating our work, lessening the meetings, and being able to focus on what matters most. See, Mark already said it. He said, definitely less meetings. That's what you want. We don't have time. We do not have time to be on all these calls, to be on these meetings, all of these things. But I'm going to tell you, as we explore on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about some of the apps that you can use to communicate effectively. Many people want to throw an app at a situation and say, this is going to fix our communication issue, which is completely backwards. You're going to have to decide what type of communication that you want to have. So when we're talking about synchronous communication, and before that, I want to make sure that we're understanding what we're defining, is that when we're talking about communication and the way that we communicate, all of these communication channels, the email, the phone, the Slack, the text messaging, all the different apps in the world, they're not all created equal. You are not meant to have five different channels of communication to get work done. You need to centralize your communication, which means you need to centralize the work at hand, because you are going to begin to find yourself very tired, very unorganized, if you don't go about creating what I would like to call communications protocol and a plan. Now, some people may say, I don't even have all that. I don't even have time to be creating no communications plan. I am not talking about a 50-page document, a 15-page, 1-5. I'm not even talking about 5 pages. I'm even really talking about rules of engagement that everybody has an understanding. Maybe it's some bullet points on a Google Doc that essentially says, here's how we're going to communicate. Here's what we're going to use. Here's the cadence of what we're going to use. Here are the topics that we're going to stay on track and focus on. So if you remember back in the day when things were cool. See, come on now. That's some good old Badu. But back in the day, folks, we used to be at meetings, walking to meetings, calling in on meetings, all the such, folks. Synchronous communication. This means that this happens in real time with 2 or more parties exchanging information at one time. Many of us, we just embedded ourselves in synchronous communication all day long. Pick up the phone, go to the meeting, log on here. But there were some companies out there, even pre-pandemic, that say, you know what? I want to create a culture where not only are we moving faster in terms of accomplishing our goals, but we're doing it in such a way where people don't even have to respond right away. See, I did that pause. That you don't have to respond immediately. What if I just left a message for a colleague to review a document? Say, hey, I need it by Thursday. Thanks so much. You are the owner of the deliverable, so you'll have to do the following up and reaching out. But that's what we're talking about with async communication. Sync communication, synchronous communication, that means that we have to be in the same place and space for the task or the project to get done. So synchronous communication can be in person, virtual, scheduled, impromptu. These are phone calls, video calls, in-person meetings, water cool conversations, IMing. You are physically in the place and space where you can communicate. You need to be in the same physical space. While async communication, let me get some examples of synchronous communication. Video conferencing, phone calls, Skype, hanging out with your fellow coworker with the water cooler. Asking your teammates a question when they're right there, you need a quick answer. That is synchronous communication. But we're evolving, right? Technology, society, opportunities, remote work, all these different things. Working with someone, they have a 3-hour time difference. You're up at 10. Maybe they're just getting up and it's 7 a.m. A perfect opportunity for you to perform async communication. So good, y'all. It's any type of communication that includes a lag between when the party imparting the information sends the message and when the party receiving the message interprets it. I send a message to the Avengers Mastermind Squad in Slack. Maybe I ask them a question. Maybe I'm asking for feedback. I know that they are working on so many different things. They're not going to have time to just give me immediate feedback. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to introduce async communication, where I'm going to leave a comment, leave the Google Doc, and ask for feedback. I'm going to come back tomorrow morning and see what happens. Async communication, and it's is usually not in person, and it's usually unscheduled. Could you actually schedule some things? Sure, absolutely. But tools like Slack and tools like Asana and ClickUp and Notion, they can really help you in terms of formulating asynchronous communication. Well, you're going to pause for questions about that. Any questions people have on that? All right. We're rocking and rolling, folks. Rocking and rolling. The question is for you all, are you living in a synchronous world or an asynchronous world? I would challenge you all that if you're finding yourself in many meetings, all hours of the day or week, that you think about and pull yourself back and you say to yourself, A, is this meeting needed? B, is there a way that I can get this information that's regular, routine, that's a status update in such a way that doesn't disrupt my day and I can even focus? Absolutely. And on Wednesday, we're going to go through a few tools on async communication for sure. Does it mean that you get rid of synchronous communication? Oh, absolutely not. Because there's always going to be a need for meeting in person, for needing an answer right then and there. There's always going to be a need. But when we're talking about managing our projects, you're not going to do like they were doing before, which I've done before. Oh, we got to talk about something. Everybody get in a room. Let's boogie. Not at all. You are going to trust team members, contractors, specialists, whomever to perform the work, right? You're going to partner with them, and they probably will do some partnering with you in terms of their processes. But this is great because you may need answers to questions. And if you know that a certain population wakes up later than you do, all you can do is go about your routine and then invite them into the fold so that you can become educated. Yep. So that you can become more educated on async communication. But many companies, many brands, they're using async communication. I think that it is crucial. And I would say at a minimum, if you are working with clients, or if it's you and your team, none of this text messaging business, right? Just go ahead and create that Slack channel and have these other existing Slack channel groups and discuss how do we go about engaging with these tools. I'll never forget my forever business coach in terms of her podcast interview, Conversations with Ask Ash. We're in the Power of Team season. And she talked about not needing to be in the know of everything, trusting her team members enough where if something did go wrong, there's a way or path forward to make sure that didn't happen again. And it's an opportunity too, as a leader, especially if you have some sort of documentation or, something that you were reporting on, someone could assign something to you as a CEO and say, hey, by tomorrow, can you approve this? This is just a follow-up from our conversation a week ago, however the scenario goes. How does that make sense to people? Async and synchronous communication. How does that make sense to folks? I'm going to take some questions, but I wanted to make sure that we were breaking down both, right? So that we can get a better understanding of async and sync communication. Yep. Awesome. Well, this is just the introduction of async communication and synchronous communication. But I want you to think of, as I close out in terms of the challenge of the week, I want you all to think of ways in which you are using synchronous communication. Remember, synchronous communication is that physical in person. That's mostly physical in person that you need an answer right now. What are all those areas, right, that you are using synchronous communication? And then for async communication, what are some examples that you can use in terms of using async communication so that you can be more effective with your time and you can lessen the amount of meetings? So make both of those lists. Definitely text me. I'm going to get you text live to 626-722-5444 so that you can let me know your thoughts on sync communication and async communication. Another app that we'll definitely be talking about and talking through is ClickUp. And ClickUp definitely has some ways where you can implement async communication for sure. And so if you are interested in understanding better how to communicate and streamline your team operations, how you go about your work every day, check out the VIP day. And I guarantee you that is something that's going to help your overall team work better. Well, all right. This has been excellent. This has been a lot of fun. But we'll be back next time on Wednesday where we're going to go through some of the tools, some of the benefits of async and sync communication. And that's it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you share this replay with 3 people. And I look forward to talking with you all soon. Bye.